Tomorrow marks 2 years since the police shooting of Jacob Blake in Kenosha, Wisconsin.
The shooting set off days of protests and calls for change. Officer Rustin Shesky, who is white, shot Blake, who's black, multiple times in the back after a domestic disturbance call. Blake was left paralyzed from the waist down. Since then, federal prosecutors have declined to press charges against Shesky. We're now joined by Jacob Blake's uncle, Justin Blake. It's good to see you. So tell us, in the last 2 years since your nephew was shot, have you seen any meaningful change in Kenosha? We all remember those protests, those calls for change. What would you still like to see done?
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you guys for having us. Change in a community that was so drowned in racism and bigotry is difficult to see. However, they have had a marginal change, but not very much at the top end of things, not at the mayoral position, not at the police positions that were specifically around the crime. And I said the crime that happened to our nephew was being shot in the back 7 times in front of his 3 children that were in the back seat.
And as a result of the injuries he suffered that day, doctors were telling Jacob that he'd be paralyzed from the waist down for life, that he'd never walk again. But apparently, I've been reading, he took a few steps, and you heard about those. How's he doing? What do you know?
Yes, he did. We're proud of our nephew. He's our hero. He's never cried. He's never responded in a negative fashion. He's continued to take on his new mantra that he's going to make his new existence be what it is, not allowing himself to be baited into the chair for the rest of his life. 45 to 60 days ago, he took about 7 steps or more as he was in therapy, which the doctor said would never happen. Just like we haven't gotten justice for Jacob Blake yet, we continue to fight. What's the AG's name? I believe Garland. We're trying to get letters going up there to DC to reopen or review this case so we can get justice for Jacob Blake so he can carry on with he and his children and a legacy that we finally fought and got justice.
Justin, you're also seeking justice for yourself. You say that your neck was hurt during one of the protests, and now you're filing a case against Kenosha and the police department. Tell us what happened and why you're taking this action.
Well, we'll be having a press conference soon with our attorney, Kimberly Motley, announcing the fact that we will be taking some legal steps against the county and the sheriff's department of Kenosha while they sent the police officer back to work without telling our family or telling the community at large. We took it upon ourselves to try to shut down the police station and block the doors so people couldn't get a day in a peaceful protest. And we were arrested at that time. And while we were in custody, we suffered a torn rotator cuff and some things happened to the back of our neck, which they yet to put their hand on. But these are things that they would be brutal to the uncle of Jacob Blake, knowing who we are, what's happening to the average person that goes through those doors that was sat in that chair. It felt like torture for 9 hours straight. We were in this chair and it brought great damage and harm to our body. And we don't get much sleep and haven't since this occurred. And this is the type of brutality that was taken out on our nephew, and it's taken out on many other people that passed through the door of that sheriff station, and we want to put it into it. And we also want to get those chairs out of every facility in the state of Wisconsin.
All right, Justin Blake, appreciate you being on with us today, 2 years later. And as you describe it, not much has changed there in Kenosha. We appreciate you talking to us.
Big ups to the red, black, and green. Thank you for your coverage. Unity now.
CBS has reached out to the Kenosha Police Department for a response. We're still awaiting that. We're going to take a quick break. There's a lot of news ahead. You're streaming CBS News.